All right, today we're talking about something that's kind of the bedrock of a ton of businesses, even if you never see it. It's called on-premises computing. And the best way to picture it? Just imagine you're building your very own digital castle. I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about where a company's data actually goes? When you use an app, all that info has to live somewhere, right? Is it just floating around in the cloud, or is it locked down tight in a server room somewhere? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into. So let's start at the beginning. What is on-premises? The easiest way to get this is to stick with our fortress analogy. Imagine you own the land, you build the walls stone by stone, you hire all the guards, and you, and only you, make the rules. Okay, let's get a little more technical for a sec. The textbook definition really boils down to two little words: hosted and managed locally. See, this isn't about renting a corner of someone else's digital kingdom. It means a company's entire tech setup, all of it, is sitting right there inside its own building. So, in short, if you can literally walk down the hall, open a door, and point to the blinking box that holds all your company's secrets, well, that's on-prem. You own it, you can touch it, and, this is the big one, you control every single thing about it. Right, so how does this all work? How do you actually build this digital castle? What are the actual bricks and mortar we're talking about here? Building this thing really comes down to four major steps. First, you got to lay the foundation. That means going out and buying all the physical gear, the servers, the storage drives, all the networking stuff. Then, you've got to give it a brain, right? So you install all the software and applications right onto those machines. But it's not going to run itself. That's where your in-house IT team comes in. They're the ones maintaining it, updating it, and protecting it 24/7. And finally, you open the gates, so to speak, letting your employees connect through your private, local network. And if we peek inside the castle walls, these are the crown jewels. You've got your servers. They're the brains of the whole operation. Then there's storage, which is basically the vault where all your precious data is kept. The network? Think of that as the roads and bridges connecting everything. Of course, none of it works without power and cooling. That's the lifeblood keeping the whole thing running. And wrapping around it all, you've got security. These are your digital moats, your watchtowers, your guards on the wall. Okay, so we know what it is, we know how you build it. So why go through all this trouble? Well, the number one reason, the biggest pro of all, is one simple, powerful idea: total control. You are the absolute king of this castle. And when you're the king, you get some pretty serious perks. For starters, you have the final say on your data, your systems, your security, everything. No one touches it without your permission. You can also customize the heck out of it. You can build it and tweak it to fit your exact needs, like a custom-made suit of armor. And maybe most importantly, if you're in an industry with a ton of rules and regulations, it's a whole lot easier to prove you're following them when you control the entire system from top to bottom. But, and you knew there was a but, being king is a heavy burden. With all that amazing control comes total, unwavering responsibility. And that right there is the big trade-off you make with an on-prem setup. And that responsibility is no joke. First off, the cost. You're looking at a huge upfront bill for all that hardware and software. Then, you need a highly skilled IT army on your payroll just to keep the lights on. Need to grow? You can't just click a button and get more power. Nope. You have to physically buy and install more machines, which takes time and money. And if something breaks, if a hacker comes knocking, if it's time for an update, guess what? It's all on you. So with all of those headaches, you've got to be asking yourself, why on earth would anyone still do this? I mean, in a world where the cloud offers so much convenience, why build your own castle? Well, for some, it's not really a choice. It's an absolute necessity. Let's make this really concrete. Just picture a huge international bank or a government agency that stores top-secret data about its citizens. For them, the stakes are just stratospheric. A data leak isn't just embarrassing, it could be a full-blown crisis. See, for organizations like these, those pros we talked about, they aren't just nice-to-haves. They are non-negotiable. They have to have total control over that sensitive data. A lot of times, the law actually requires them to keep data physically inside the country's borders. And because the stakes are just so incredibly high, they have the budget and the specialized teams to build and defend a true digital fortress. So it all kind of boils down to this one question, doesn't it? We live in a world obsessed with convenience, but what is total control really worth? As we've seen, the answer isn't the same for everyone. For some, having the keys to the kingdom isn't just a feature, it's everything. And it really makes you think, what's that balance look like in our own lives?